Guys, meet the 19-year-old that made 10.5K in commissions last month. Super exciting to have you here, Josh. It's really, really, really awesome because you're one of the clients that consistently I've seen has just shown up again and again and again and again. And one of the, just as I would say with Dylan, one of the most recent case studies I did as well. One of the showcase type clients that I think a lot of people should model in terms of the effort that you put in and the way that you contribute and the way that you add value to the community and the way that you show up, participate. This is definitely someone that you should be following if you're looking to join the RSA. So welcome, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Super exciting to have you here, man. Like you're achieving the results that I w wish I could have at your age, making 10.5K a month at 19. Absolutely insane result. There's not a lot of guys that are 19 or your age making that type of income, and we're all about making that consistent as well and starting to scale that up, which we're exploring that with the opportunities you're looking at. So that's super exciting. But yeah, let's probably start before you met me because I think it's good to have a bit of detail on your background, what you've done in the past, just so people understand that you're a real guy. Um, there's nothing special about you. There's nothing special about me. And just like yourself, we've all got a story. And yeah, let's go way back before you met me with a business that you had with one of my other clients, Ryan. And yeah, let's start there.
Yeah, so me and Ryan, we were running our own like little gig. It's like a detailing window cleaning gig. It was doing all right. Not the greatest. It was a lot of long, hot summer days, especially in Australia's climate. Also working like a bartender job as well. And yeah, that's pretty much what I was doing before I jumped into remote sales. Yeah.
And why did you decide to pivot and move on from that? Because it's quite an ego hit to go from running your own business and having that control to picking up high ticket sales. So what led to the curiosity of doing something like that as opposed to starting like another type of business online?
It's a good question. Like an in-person business, it was too hands-on. Like it was essentially like me and Ryan, like we were like employees essentially. Um, and like starting up another business, we're we're not too smart ourselves. And we didn't really have, I guess, the brain capability to do something like that. Um, yeah,
Interesting. I personally believe it was not necessarily like your IQ or how much brain capacity you have. I think it's just your age, your experience, and your skill level. A lot of times with younger guys who try to start businesses, you can pull it off. It's absolutely possible, but it's very far and few between that you're, I would say personally, a lot of it is to do with luck and sheer brute force because starting your own business when you're really young, you just don't have the experience. You don't know what to do. You don't have the skills. That's why I find it's quite difficult to start any of these different business models online, like SMMA or drop shipping or any of these other different business models. While possible, and high ticket sales has its pros and its cons as well, it's just more like the barrier to entry to get into sales is just a whole lot lower.
yeah, I 100% agree. And to be honest, like going into sales and being in like a business itself, it's actually given me an understanding of what it is to run a business, even though I'm not actually running it. Like when we were actually detailing, like essentially we were just dumping like money into Facebook ads, like meta ads, and we didn't actually know what we were doing. We were just
Yeah.
getting leads, setting them via like the DMs and just doing the jobs. And then we were trading like time for money at the end of the day. And it just got like, I just was like, we felt stuck essentially.
Mm. And so, did the either of you together look at different business models or try different business models before you got into high ticket sales?
I did drop shipping briefly. I launched like half a store and then it pretty much failed instantly. Ryan also did drop shipping, also failed. So it was like a common theme, like both failing businesses. I
Mm,
was doing uni as well. Right now I'm deferred. Um,
nice. So you're a uni dropout then?
not a dropout yet.
Not quite.
Just like half in, half out. Primarily out, to be honest.
Interesting. Okay, fair enough. And what were you studying?
Studying construction management. It's like managing constructions.
Interesting. Okay. And so you've deferred that. You're now full-time in high ticket sales. When did you come across my content? Where did you find me? What kind of made you make the jump with high ticket sales, but particularly with me as well?
To be honest, I didn't actually come across you. Ryan did.
Ah,
So I actually vividly remember Ryan telling me about this. So we came home from like, I think it was like a 10-hour day of detailing. And essentially he was just like, what are we doing? Like there's no actual future here with what we're doing. And he's talking about how he wants to get into sales, like high ticket sales. I'm like, what's that? It's like a pyramid scheme. Like I was super skeptical, as most people are. Um, and he just kept talking about it, about how he had like a job opportunity and he like got a job interview. So I was like, all right, I'm curious. I'll watch this guy, Connor Healy. He also sent me this other guy, Reese Thompson, which has also been through the program. And then I essentially went top to bottom from Reese's videos, and I was like, what? This is an actual thing that you can do?
yeah, that's crazy. And
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, it just blew my mind. And then one thing led to another. Somehow ended up face to face with Lucas. And from there, that's where it took
Basically
off.
joined up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, what limiting beliefs do you think you had about sales before you started doing it?
Honestly, I had no desire to be in sales at all. Like
Yeah,
I didn't think sales was gonna be like existent in my life. I always knew I wanted to, work for myself, own my own business in some sort of way. But the way I thought of sales, I was like, oh, it's just like some sleazy guy trying to, just make me buy something that I don't want to buy. Um, that's essentially it.
super interesting. And I'm curious to see what your thoughts on it now, as far as like your perspective after doing it for a little bit. I'm not sure how long you've actually been in high ticket sales for. Is it like around 6 months?
Yeah, 6 months
Okay.
on the
So
dot.
you've got some good perspective now. Like what does sales look like for you now as far as like having that contrast and that perspective? Like is it like that? Is it where you're kind of bashing people through, pressuring them into buying something, or is it like the opposite?
I mean, sometimes you do want to bash their head against the wall to get them over the line.
Yeah,
But no, sales is definitely not that. It's it's changing a perspective and essentially building a gap from where they are right now to where they want to be, and building urgency so they actually do something about their current situation and they don't just stay where they are forever. That's the way I see sales. I don't see it as like a pushy car sales, which there is sales reps like that, and there definitely is sales in the market similar to that, but that's not like sales at its core, in my opinion.
interesting. I agree. And I think sales is all about change. It's just all about just asking the right questions. It's leading someone down to make their own decision on whether or not they should do something or not. But ultimately, letting them understand themselves internally what is the full layout of the situation, what is the full context, what are the ramifications if they don't do it? Like, where are they now? Where they actually want to go? Like, what's the gap, like you spoke about before? Like, as long as we make them aware of that and we do everything that we possibly can to get them to say, uh, sorry, the best way I kind of present sales to most people is that we can't force someone to say yes to us, but we can make it very hard to say no. That's all that we're doing at the end of the day, right? We're putting them and giving them the context of where they understand that they really are pretty stupid to not be changing and doing something about the situation. Whenever forcing someone into something, whenever pushing someone into something, they ultimately make the decision themselves.
100% agree. You say it a lot in the training actually. It's well, the way I see it is you're making them recognize. But what you say usually is like a man convinced against his own will is of the same opinion, which is 100% agree. Like you can't force
Absolutely.
someone to, you know.
Absolutely. And that's a quote from Dale Carnegie. It's another one from a mentor of mine, Matt, which is that what the client says is gospel and what you say is trash, right? It's a really, really key thing to remember as a beginner in sales. But let's go back to when you actually joined the training program. Lot going on, right? You spend a bit of money, probably the most amount of money you've spent in your life, I'm guessing,
Yeah, put it all on
right?
the
So
line.
exactly. So back against the wall, big bet, big risk, right? That's a lot of money, especially at your age, right? In terms of your earning capacity and how long you've been working. So it's a good chunk of savings. You've trusted some random dude like me on the internet. What was it like joining the training program, going in? Was it overwhelming? Was there a lot going on? Like, what was the next steps for you as far as like getting your first jobs and like what did that actually look like?
Yeah, so first got in, obviously look at all like the successful clients and start modeling what they're doing because, you know, if someone's done it this way, like you might as well copy that. Um, Put my head down, go through all the modules, understand that, go through it again, start networking. And then from the networking part, had a lot of struggles in the beginning because I just like people just didn't take me seriously, which is fair enough because I had nothing behind me. Um, Showed up to every single coaching call, still do that. Will continue to do that until I achieve my goals fully. Um, but yeah, that's what happened initially when I came in. Just put my head down.
Amazing. And something to highlight there is a big thing that you highlighted was the fact that success leaves clues. And just as this would be like, I think we said before we got on like the 41st case study that I've filmed. There's a lot of success inside the training program. There's a lot of interviews of people talking through their stories and what they do to actually get the result they're looking for. And a very common theme that you just mentioned is coming to coaching calls. And one of the fantastic things that you do and have done and continue to do is you attend every single coaching call that there is to attend with me, right? It's very rarely do I not see you on a single coaching call. You're always asking questions, you're always inquisitive, you're always curious. You're ready to get a call tear apart if you need to. Like that is personally what I've seen in my experience that separates the most successful versus the not. And you've done that extremely, extremely well from what I've seen.
Yeah, I appreciate that. To me, that's the absolute bare minimum. Like, if you're going to invest that much money into someone, like, the very bare minimum is to show up to their calls and actually be attentive and try to make the best out of it. Because, you see a lot of people come in, they have this spark of motivation, but then they don't have anything to follow through with it. And then you can kind of see them just taper away, fade away. And I feel like that's the biggest pitfall. So just making that a habit of showing up every single time that gives you the motivation to go on and do like more networking because you get inspired.
Mm, massively. And have you noticed that the same guys that come to coaching calls consistently are the same guys that are on case studies or have already filmed a case study?
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to continue to be like that.
Yeah. And it's the same across the board, as I say in every interview. It's like if you're looking to join the community, paying me money is just the first step. Like Josh said, there's always the fun, happy moon, like honeymoon phase where you're super excited, you've spent money, you're in this new world, there's always people making money. But unless you actually show up, put in the work, be consistent, ask for help, get support, this boat's not going to roll itself, right? You need to put the gas behind it, is kind of what we're saying here, which is really, really key. And so with the offers that you're selling at the moment, you didn't have it picture perfect when you first started out. You went through the trenches. So let's talk about like the first
Definitely.
offer that you got and how difficult it was and how much money you were making in the beginning as well, because it wasn't very much.
Yeah. So started off, one of the guys in the RSA, Khan, he referred me to committed coaches. Essentially, committed coaches, It's training grounds, the way I view it. It's all about perspective at the end of the day. It's not the greatest offer, but it's there for you to get reps in and obviously make like a bit of cash if you can. Um, so I joined that offer, started dialing, performed like fairly well, and then they transitioned me into a closing position, closed there for around 3 months, and then I pretty much had enough of it and then moved on to my current offer.
Nice. And so you got a lot of training in fitness sales, which uh, personally, I would say from my perspective, after coaching a lot of guys now who've gone through that, if you're a beginner getting started in the space, a key reference for fitness sales is that it's non-ROI. So you can make good money, and there are guys who do make good money, like upwards of, I've seen guys like top 1% of fitness sales making like 30K plus a month, but it's a very, very, very long, grueling grind to get there. And it's a very difficult sale. If you're selling something as a key tip as a, for a beginner, someone looking to get in the space or someone who's new, look personally in most cases for an ROI offer, something where someone will invest with the company, learn a skill, or get handed a business that you can get an ROI and return on investment from. When you're selling a non-ROI offer, especially with fitness, I'll point out to fitness, you're battling against 10, 20, 30 years of habits, beliefs, and things that are grained into a person's very way of being and living and lifestyle. To try and unwire that in 30 to 40 minutes and get them to pay you thousands of dollars and go through the physical pain of going to the gym and give up the foods that they like and enjoy eating and give up alcohol, smoking, things like that. It's a very tricky task, but in your first initial part of your sales career, if you can get through that 30, 60, 90 days of really putting the hard work in with fitness sales, you could be trained and ready to go and have a good fundamental foundational level where Josh went from fitness sales to selling somewhat similar to towards like health from memory. Um, and I think just from your context as well, I'd love to hear your perspective. When you went in on the offer, the people weren't actually that great at sales. It was very much like a lay down type offer. But because you had that experience previously in the previous offer, it laid a very good foundation for you to be able to do very well on this offer. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. It's super key to start off in the trenches. If you just go straight to the top, sure, you can make money, obviously, but you don't have the skills to back it up. And if you don't have the skills, well, then, like, what do you really have? Like, sure, you have the money right now, but like, 6 months down the line, if something happens, if, the market's volatile, especially in sales like this, if the offer goes down, like, you don't have the skills to back it up and, you're on the streets again. So
Yeah.
it's super important to have the skills and the foundations before, you go out and start scaling up to them bigger numbers like 10K. And yeah, when I did get on board with the current company that I'm working with, it was just a no-brainer sale. So the skills that I got from like working an offer it's known as a bait and switch. They don't know they're being sold. That gave me, I guess, a bit of leeway to get started and to get ramped up with the offer.
Yeah. And it gives you a lot of confidence in your capability, which you didn't have when you first started out, which again, 1, 2, 3 months of a lot of volume can really help you lay that good base level foundation, especially with some training on top. Um, but with the opportunity that you're on, hang on, I lost train of thought. We'll bounce back to that in a second. Maybe no, I've lost it anyway. It's fine.
Oh, good.
Um, in terms of your expectations of the industry, that if you were to first like get started like 6 months ago and you were only just getting started in this space, like what would you tell someone who's like looking to get into this of like what's actually required to be successful and like how long it actually takes to get results?
Doesn't take, it does take a while to get results, to first see results. It's not going to happen overnight. It's certainly not like a get rich quick scheme. Um, in terms of the best piece of advice I'd give someone is, and this is just in general, find someone who's done it. Because like if you don't, like you're shooting in the dark essentially. Like you don't know anything. You absolutely know nothing. You're getting information from here, from here, from here, without any like real direction or strategy. Whereas if you get someone who's done it before, they have a full A to Z guide on what to do and exactly how to do it and what like steps, then you know exactly where you're going. So you're not shooting in the dark. That would be the best piece of advice. Another piece of advice is just work hard and stay consistent, as cliche as it is. Um, that that gives you success at the end of the day.
How important do you think it is to put the ego to the side, and really just be having a student mindset in sales?
It's everything. Because if you don't have a student mindset, you get in your own way. Like I still have a student mindset. Many guys like people like Rahul, I'm sure he still has, I'm sure he still has a bit of an ego. Um, but he definitely still has like a student mindset because at the end of the day, if you get stuck in your own way, thinking you know everything, you're never going to grow and you're just going to stay complacent. And that's the biggest thing. Like even showing up to the coaching calls, like like a lot of the stuff gets repeated sometimes, but like you still find things new. You're still growing every single time. Getting your call like pulled apart, something new comes up. You're like, wow, didn't know that. Next time I can change it.
Yeah, no, super key. How has life changed for you? Like, how is things different? Because I like to point out that yes, it's not easy sailing right now. You still put in a lot of work. It's still a job. It's not easy. Um, but in contrast to what you're doing before, so hot summer days, working the detailing business, or working in the bar, I think you mentioned earlier before. How does your day to day and how's your life different from back then in a bit of a contrast?
Right now, my life's 90% sales. Um, it's not great, 90% sales. I don't recommend it to everybody. But back then when I was working, it was 90% work. So at least I'm doing something right now that I'm actually passionate about and I can actually see myself in a future, like have a future with it. Because when I was just doing work, like I was working for someone else, not in the sense of the business, but when I was working at the bar, um, I was working for someone else. It wasn't fulfilling at all, wasn't much pay at all. Jeez, I actually just clocked that. I make the same amount of money from like one sale that I made a week. Holy crap. Yeah, the pay was terrible. It wasn't fulfilling, and I didn't really see a future in
Hmm, yeah.
it. It just
You
reminded
know,
me. I totally forgot.
yeah, it's kind of crazy how things move so quickly in the space. You go from nothing to something very quickly. And I think even the fact that you've hit 10K a month, a lot of clients tell me, as was my personal experience, it kind of only clocks and you only kind of really understand what's happening a couple months later because you've been doing all this work, 5, 6 months of hard work of grueling days, long work hours, and also very humbling as well because you're going to a new space that you know very little about. So now hitting 10K a month, and that's only a baseline. We're going to the next level after that. Usually, what I find with most clients is that it only really kind of hits them months later after the fact because you kind of not really taking your head up in a sense. Like even just now, you just figured that one sale you'd make, what you would usually make in a week previously in your bar job is pretty crazy to think about.
It's unreal. Like I didn't actually clock it until then.
Yeah.
Actually,
How much how much were you earning an hour? Like how many hours were you working a week?
so I was earning around 25 and I was only doing like I wasn't doing many hours, so it was like a part-time job. I was doing around like 12 to 15 a week, which isn't much, but it was spread out over a few days.
Hmm, crazy. And that obviously requires you to go to the physical workplace, such and such. How much do you earn from a sale now for what you're selling and how expensive is it?
So right now I earn so the ticket price is anywhere from 2,700 up to like 8,000. So that's like the preventative health one. Whereas the other one that I'm working on is like an Amazon FBA one, and that's also 2,700. So the commission range is different. So for the preventative health one, it's 7.5%, and the Amazon FBA one, it's 15%. So today I closed one deal for the Amazon FBA one, so I made $410, which is blows my
Crazy.
mind because I used to do a whole week's work of work for around the same amount of money.
Crazy. Yeah. Honestly, it's so insane what you can do in this space and what you can pull off with regardless of age or regardless of experience or not having a university or college degree. It's kind of insane.
Yeah. It's a shame most people don't know about it. Or, just the skepticism around the space prevents them from actually taking a step into something like this, which is understandable. But
Mm.
yeah,
That's a very good topic to move to, which is that have you ever told like your friends or your family about what you're doing? Like, have you ever mentioned that before?
I have. I choose not to most of the time. Usually I just say I'm still in like uni because that's easier than like explaining it
Mm.
to them. They're like, "What's this shit? This is some pyramid scheme," which is
Yeah.
understandable. Like you don't know, so that makes sense. But my family does know. They support it to an extent.
Nice. Okay. They're still wanting to go back to university.
Yeah, which is fine. Like I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah. Do you know the type of salary that you'd be earning straight out of university if you were to go back?
It starts at 80K, it's around there, and then it can go all the way up to like 200K, which is great. But at the same time, you're bringing work home, you're working 40, 50-hour weeks. It's it's at like what cost? When I could just put my head down for 4 years doing something like this and make the same, if not even more, without having like 10 plus experience in the construction industry.
Yeah, because usually typically for those careers, right? I mean, I'm not too sure about that industry or most industries, but I've just general like stereotyping. Like it might take 10 years to get to that 200K a year salary, right?
It does for most careers, like nursing, for example. Each year, your salary increases by experience. Whereas construction, it's preferably you have minimum 5 years experience to earn six figures, which
Super
is
interesting.
a long time. So 9 years
It's
plus the degree.
it's wild to think about because like you've got guys like Blaine as a client as well. Like I think he's even had months of like 50K US in a month. And he's only been doing it a year and 3 months, 4 months, something like that. So the risk is you could fail and you could get paid absolutely zero. That's the risk because you are taking on responsibility for your income and the results you bring to the table. Whereas with a normal stock standard job, you get a degree, college, which is fine. You show up, you get paid your salary, you do your job. But whereas in sales, the cool thing about it, in my belief, is that no matter your experience, your background, no one cares. As long as you bring the results to the table, you're going to get paid in proportion to that, which I think is just a massive difference in contrast when you kind of really think about it. 10 years to make 200K or 1, 2, 3 years of really committing yourself and really focusing to one skill, getting really good at it, becoming a master and then you can make way more, have geographical independence. You still work a lot. Don't get me wrong there. Like you still work a lot. You still work a lot of hours. You don't necessarily have time independence and time freedom, but you still have the capacity to move around and scale your income regardless of your experience. I think it's insane to think about that you'd have to work so many years in corporate or so many years in a company, which is fair enough. But to actually really increase your pay by like a few $1,000s a year or 5, 10, 15, 20, it's a year of your life gone. Whereas here, you could just get better and just make more.
Yeah, it's the trade-off, and it's the lack of knowledge, the lack of knowing. Like most people, they just kind of accept that they have to go to uni. They don't have to, but they choose to. Um, it's the trade-off at the end of the day. Like they can go into something, they may love it, they may not love it. Most people don't love their corporate jobs, from what I know. Um, and they end up, 5, 10, 15 years down the line regretting that they didn't actually do something about it.
Mm, absolutely.
That's the trade-off at the end of the
Um,
day.
I agree. I agree. Can you imagine going back to like a normal job now?
Um, I can. It wasn't too long ago. But I'd rather not, to be honest.
Mm. Why?
Just the, same thing every day. The bar wasn't terrible, but like I know what I was in for
Mm.
when it comes to like getting a uni degree and then like going full into the workforce. Like I know what I was in for.
Interesting, interesting. And so, what would you say your goal is from here in terms of scaling high ticket sales? Do we want to scale our income? Do we want to travel? Like, what's your goal over like the next 6 to 12 months?
6 to 12 months. So far, I set myself 6 goals for the year. So, number one, join the RSA. Number two, quit my 9 to 5. Number three, it was travel for 1 month whilst working remotely. I have it right here actually. Um, and then get a closing position and then earn 10K a month by April, which I don't think I did, unfortunately. I was a month short.
We're close.
Yeah, and then hit 15K a month by November. So far, all I need to do is hit 15K and also travel for a month abroad.
Cool. No, I love that.
That's
Where do
my
you want to
two
go? Where
goals
do you
for
want to
the
travel?
So me and some of the guys from RSA were going Bali. So Sam, Lorenzo, Daniel, Ryan.
Sick. That's awesome. No, I didn't know about that. I know there's been so many different trips with guys like going to Thailand, they're going to Bali, like particularly Bangkok as well. Like a lot of the older RSA guys that kind of joined when I started, like, there's a lot of groups of like trips and stuff that they went across, but that's super exciting. So how many would you get in a house total?
I don't know. Lorenzo's still on the fence. Like Lorenzo's he's putting timelines. Like if he doesn't hit a certain amount of money, he's not going. So I don't know. Probably around 4 people, 4 or 5 people. Really depends.
Cool. I think you guys will have the time of your life, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm keen for sure.
It'd be very cool. When are you guys planning to do that?
Around September, um, give or take. Really depends on our schedule. Um, but yeah,
It's honestly awesome to have the flexibility to be able to travel like that at such a young age and make money while you travel. Like I've never seen anything like it. I'm not sure if you've ever been in a position where you've made income while you've traveled, but the whole different type of life experience being able to do that.
yeah. I know a lot of guys in the space who do it. And they seem to love it a lot. So keen to see what it has on offer.
Yeah, no, I'm keen to hear it. So yeah, tell me about your general feedback after being through the RSA for a while now. Like you've been working with me around 6 months, 5 months, around that range. So what's your general feedback on terms of like the coaching calls, the community, the one-on-one support? Like, yeah, like what's your general feedback?
If I were to put it 10 out of 10, like that seems a bit cliche. Like above my expectations for sure. Like I actually did not know what I was going into when I came into this. Like I was super naive. I didn't even know why I went into something like this. And I'm glad I chose you because in retrospect, looking back at it, there's there's so many mentors that I could have chosen. Thank God
Yeah.
Ryan done his research. Um, because like I could have went into some terrible program and then I would have been back in my job. But overall feedback, it's amazing because like if I were to text Connor within like 2 to 4 hours, he's getting back to me. He's sending me like a full balloon breaking it down. When it comes to coaching calls, um, everything like everything's answered. What can I say? You're pretty much tearing apart my calls when I come on, and overall it's great. I couldn't ask for anything better, to be honest.
Fantastic. I'm really glad to hear that. And I appreciate the feedback. What what value has the community been to you? I know a lot of guys say that they join the RSA for the community side of things. Like how valuable has the community been? Like how has it added toward your journey? Like what are your insights there?
Yeah, it's actually been like a lot more than I thought because like remote sales itself, it's not super how do I say it's social? Like it's not like a workplace where you're going in, you got your work friends and stuff like that. Essentially, like the community acts like some of my friends. Like I've met so many great guys in the community. Like we have our own like Discord server. We chat there. We get better. We role play. It's actually been a game changer, to be honest.
Amazing. And from someone who's not in there, I mean, I've got videos in the channel that kind of go through the structure of the training program, but as you've kind of consumed and digested the content, what, for someone who isn't in there and from your personal experience, what was the structure of the course content, the training? Was it clear? Was it not clear? Was it to the point? Was it long? Was it short? Like just to give the guys a bit of an insight to like what they're getting into. Like, what was your general perspective on going through that?
So it was clear. It was essentially a roadmap. Like I think one of the first videos is a roadmap on how to go from where you're at right now, not knowing anything, to like the stages of being like the stages broken up into like month periods. So like 0 to 30 days, 60 to 90 days, and then from there. Um, yeah, it was super easy. So essentially, when you get in there, the classroom, you have all the modules, and it's pretty much first and foremost just like the mindset, like understanding the mindset and what's required to be in like this industry. And then from there, networking, because like you have to understand, you have to meet people first, in order to actually get an opportunity. And then obviously in chronological order into like sales skills, practical, and yeah, that's pretty much how it went for me. So the
Perfect.
way it is, it's chronological order. So like from A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Okay, so really easy to follow, which is great. And you've you said that you've seen a little bit of what's out there in the info space. So, I mean, have you met other people who are selling in the high ticket sales space that are outside the RSA?
Yeah, I've met heaps of people. Um, yeah, I've met heaps of people. Some people are doing like crazy numbers, especially when I like I see some people in the RSA. I'm like, wow, they're doing a lot of numbers, and then I see other people, um, even Aussies. Like I'm in a few communities that are Australian based, and like that's just like a whole realm of like different other people that you can meet and connect with.
Sweet. And have you seen and spoken to these guys because in the way that you'd have some contrast and difference of like what you feel RSA's what separates RSA from other training programs of what you see in the high ticket sales space. Not throwing shade in any particular direction or like at any particular company or individual, but like in terms of what you've seen from other guys and maybe how they've been trained or their general experience in other training programs, like, what do you feel personally from your experience separates RSA from everyone else that's out there when it comes to high ticket sales?
It's just strategy at the end of the day. I vividly remember being in like a video call networking with someone, and their networking strategy was just sending out cold Loom videos to business owners. And I just thought to myself, like, what is this guy doing? Because like the way I've been taught and the way this guy's been taught, because he's been through another mentorship, I was like, Jesus, man. You need the right guidance. That's what I thought initially. It's different, obviously, in a good way.
What would you say is different in terms of the contrast and difference? Is it the training? Is it the one-on-one support? Like you may not know completely because you haven't spoken to these people in like in in-depth, intimate detail, but is there anything else, or is it just primarily like the strategy is different?
The strategy was different. And also I don't know too much from them, but I know from my experience at least that it is a lot more like intimate, like training with you in a sense where like you're actually actively engaged and you actually care about your student success. Like every week when we have a coaching call, you're checking in, seeing like where we're at for the month, if we're having any roadblocks, and you're just shooting us a message anytime supporting us. Whereas most coaches, that they sort of just see you as a number. Whereas I can see like differences in that sense.
Right. No, I appreciate to hear that feedback. I think it's very common feedback that I hear on most of these case studies. The thing that separates us from most people is the fact that this hasn't been some super hyper marketed program or training program community to where we want to scale to multiple six figures a month and keep scaling and growing and growing and growing and growing. We're happy with where the pace is at now and maybe even just a little bit more here and there. Like we're not trying to scale this to a seven figure per month program. We're just trying to get it to the point where it achieves my personal goals, which it absolutely does. And we've got some absolute great results doing so. Having that intimacy and that attention and that fine attention to detail, I think is so, so important. Like in terms of the attention you get on group coaching calls, uh, I really want to emphasize this, not just from me saying it, but also from you, which is that the level of intimacy and attention that you get on group coaching calls, even though the size of the community is still extremely high, just for the fact that most people don't even show up, right? So I'm curious to hear like what your experience has been like on the group coaching calls as well.
Um, I mean, it comes back to like not being committed, being half committed, like coming into the program, having like that spark of motivation, and then falling back and actually not, showing up and committing yourself. Because sometimes, depending on the day, like the coaching call is a lot smaller, and essentially, it's just like I don't know how to say it. I can't put a word to it actually.
But do you feel like in terms of like the attention that you get on the calls, it's still quite one to one almost in a sense, just because of the amount of people that actually show up to calls and the attendance is there's a lot of people that join, but there's not a lot of people that actually attend and
Yeah.
focus and commit and show up. So it's like in a way, we kind of have a very tight-knit group here in terms of the people that actually want to show up. And every single person that's on those calls consistently always end up being on a case study or have already filmed one.
Yeah, 100% agree. Because it's one thing to show up and actually like, be there, listen to the call, but it's another thing to actually ask questions every single time and, put your hand up to get your call taken apart and actually ask questions. Because I feel like a lot of the time people show up and showing up is one part, but like, again, that is the minimum. Like actually asking questions, engaging, because like not everybody has a question most of the time. You would agree too, Connor. Um,
Yeah.
it's really yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so, I mean, in case it isn't obvious already, I mean, you gave us a 10 and 10, 10 out of 10, but I would obviously ask it to you directly. Like, how likely would you be to recommend RSA to like a friend or anyone that kind of wants to get started in the space?
Yeah. Um, 10 out of 10 again. I would definitely, I mean, if someone's keen to actually get into the online space, I would 100% point it your direction. I have done that for a few people too. They've asked like what's the best place to get started when it comes to sales, and I'm like, well, Connor's right there. I can introduce you and you guys can take it from there.
Wait, yeah, no, I know you've definitely sent a couple referrals my way, and that's what I think has done so well in the time that we've grown. It's really just been growing from referrals and getting people results. Like our business and RSA itself wouldn't have grown to the size it have and had if we didn't get results for people, right? It's grown purely from word of mouth and YouTube, which is kind of crazy to say. Nearly 300 members as well. But yeah, is there any final notes you wanted to finish on? Is there any like final comments you had? Anything you wanted to share?
Join the RSA. No, I mean, I've loved the journey so far, and I can't wait to see what it has in store for me within like the next couple months, next year.
Awesome. No, I'm super excited for you, man. It's very, very big things in store, to achieve the results you have in the time you have at your age. It's awesome. It took me so long to even get any close to where you're at. So it's very, very, very cool to see guys like yourself at your age be able to shorten that length and time span to get the results just massively compared to what it took me. So Yeah, guys, if you want to be like Josh, as per usual, there is a link down in the description of the YouTube video, or wherever this is sitting. You can apply and fill in a quick type form to see if you're a fit for the RSA. If you feel like you'd like Josh, if you feel like you're similar, which you should be, because Josh is a normal guy, just like me, right? So there's really no difference for most people. There's nothing special about me or him. If you feel like you are somewhat similar, you have the same goals, you have the same personality, you have the same ambition, then go ahead and apply and we'll see if you're fit to somewhat, hopefully, get a similar transformation that Josh has gotten, and all the other case studies on the channel. But hey guys, hopefully you got some value from this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.